Hi everybody, it's Greg Friel here at the Friel Thing podcast. I have Heike Schimanski with me, ladies and gentlemen. Oh! I know. Sorry, was that scream in pain? Sounded kind of
a mixed one.
Right, okay. Heike, for the folks at home, a quick 30 seconds on who you are and why I have deigned to speak to you.
I'm Heike. I live in Scotland. I came here by free will, so no one forced me.
Wow.
Which tells basically everything about me because I'm not normal. And I am highly creative. I'm a vision builder, and I do graphic design, rebrands, marketing, and video editing. So that's very much
this term,
me in a
vision
nutshell.
builder. It's kind of like, creator of worlds.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what you need to change it to, creator of worlds.
Creator of worlds. I love that.
And then get a little icon with a crown or something like that, or you're on a throne, something like that. Something subtle.
No, not subtle. It's like the Dark Queen of, when Galadriel touches the ring and,
Yes, yeah, I'm going to pretend
That's
I know what
more
you're talking about. Yes. No,
and then, of course, the throne, the Empress of the Universe, and I better shut up now.
Yes, no, you are the Empress of your own world, Heike, obviously.
Yes, actually, indeed, I am.
As we all are. Wow, this is getting metaphysical already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Philosophical?
Indeed. So I was a guest on your podcast.
Yeah.
Which I swore in that podcast. I need to apologize for that. No, I don't. But anyway, but I was misbehaving. But so I'm talking with yourself this week, and I'm talking with Ashley Griffiths next week.
Ooh, nice.
So basically, a week's worth of awesome in 1 week. A week's worth of awesome in 1 week. That doesn't make any sense. But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
2 lots of awesome in 1 week. You know what I mean? Yeah, so Heike, you say you came here of your own free will. Mm-hmm. Why?
Because I fell in love with Scotland in 2008. And that was my first time over here. I was in Ireland beforehand, which was very nice as well.
Sorry, where did you come from though?
We were in Killarney.
No. Heike Schimanski from Killarney?
Sorry. No.
Where you from?
I wish.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Germany, Frankfurt area,
Right.
So straight from the middle, from the finance center. And
Oh dear God! Right,
Yes, exactly. Very nice, beautiful area because of the Rhine Valley and all the castles and all that stuff. But there are so many Germans, so I have fled.
Wow. Okay. Strange thing that. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you came to Scotland via Killarney. Did you go to Ireland first, or did you Scotland and then Ireland?
I was in Ireland first, and that was
Right.
already because we were in Killarney, Cork, that area, and that was already the first time when I fell in love with all those green hills. But then all the time people told me, yeah, Scotland, and I kind of grew up with a Scotland theme because my sister and my mother were completely into it. And in 2008,
Did somebody watch Highlander or something like that?
We actually had connections to Scots, and
right, okay.
when I was about, I would say 5 or 6, we had a youth hostel back in Germany, and we had a piper as a guest, and I didn't know what he did, what he was, and I was in the bathroom, and he was playing in the yard, and I was like, someone's torturing a cat! And I got my sister, and my sister started laughing, and she explained to me that it is a kilt and not a skirt, and all this stuff. And that was my first impression ever from a piper. And
the thing is, with pipes can be quite terrifying if you're not accustomed to them because they're so goddamn loud.
Yes.
I was recording a guy playing pipes in my studio last month, and I said, "Can you stand out in the hall?" and I turned the mic way, 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 way down, and it was still bloody loud. It was still deafeningly loud. But you know, the desired effect was to scare, the enemy in battle. Kind of worked.
Yeah, back then. Today, no.
Yeah. No. Now you're just kind of like, God. Yeah,
I love them.
I absolutely love the pipes. I particularly love them on like Remembrance Day. Like nothing, I think it can be really, really haunting.
We were up in Bremer at the Highland Gathering, and when they were marching 600, I think. No, that was Edinburgh. It was a lot, and they were marching by, and I was in the third row only. Okay, my ears really hurt, but it was amazing. I had goosebumps all the time, and only by telling you or recalling this memory, I get goosebumps all over again. It was absolutely amazing.
It's like the Edinburgh Tattoo, which I've only ever witnessed on TV. I've never actually seen it in person, which I probably should. I imagine that would be something of a spectacle. So, yeah, shortbread tins and bagpipes and all of that kind of stuff brought you to Scotland. And then you ended up, were you planning on just coming over for a short period of time and then you just decided to stay, or what?
2008 was my first time. Each year I came back for a holiday because I always dreamt of coming here to live here and to grow old here, which I have revised now after living here. I'm not sure if I'm growing old here with climate. But at one point I was offered a job and I declined twice. The third time I finally woke up and said, "Are you insane? This is the chance of your life. Take it." And then after I had the job interview, I got the job immediately, and not even 4 months later, I had dissolved my complete household. I had my cats and my German car and a 3.5-ton van, my friends, and within, I think it was 19 hours or 18 hours, I was over here and had my move done and my immigration done. And but
German efficiency, if I do say so.
No, that were my cats. Because each time when I stopped, they started to let Stormageddon loose, so I couldn't sleep at all. I had 20 minutes sleep those hours. And altogether, I was up 36 hours before I could sleep. God. And it's if I should do something like that ever again, and if my cats are still alive, I need to find another solution because I'm not going to do that again.
Well, as someone who's moved quite a lot in my life, particularly my younger life, I haven't moved in years, thankfully, but I've moved 14 times before I was 16.
Oh, wow.
So, obviously my parents moved around a lot. My dad was in the tourism industry, so but it was always just huge. It was like the upheaval's just massive. You know, it's never like, oh, that was easy, you know.
Yeah.
It's, massive life upheaval, you know. So are you going to fill us in on what the job was, or?
I was in Germany, an executive assistant with marketing, with graphic design, because we were a very small company, but international market leader with the product we had. So I did that for over 10 years, and I was offered an equal job. Then I came over to here, and the equal turned out to be in a call center. Oh, excuse me, I'm not allowed to say that because it's contact center. And I was put into the OEM, which was luckily not as bad as the normal B2C call center, but it was still, well, it was an experience. Let me say it like this. And I stayed there 2 years because I didn't have the strength to unravel everything once more, because
Yeah.
obviously you need to find your way around in a new country. Even though I've been here so often, I speak the language. Well, I don't speak Scots, but I can kind of understand it.
Vaguely,
And
yeah.
there were so many things happening, very bad things as well, that I was betrayed of my money from my fellow Germans who brought me over here and all that stuff. So I stayed 2 years, then I really had enough. Went into another position in the whiskey industry. And then shortly after the pandemic hit, I decided it's time to either do something for myself to not get ill, because that job wasn't how do you call it? The yellow of the egg? No, I don't know. There's a saying.
Wow. So I think you're just making things up now, Heike. I've no idea. I've never heard that before.
That's maybe even German. So sometimes I don't know exactly.
Wow. I mean, I kind of think I know what you're talking about. No, I don't. But yeah, okay.
And then I jumped. I said, okay, I'm going to be self-employed about a year before I actually had planned to. And yeah, ever since, it was a roller coaster ride. Absolute roller coaster with all the loopings and all the loops and everything that you can imagine in a roller coaster. And I have not regretted a single day.
Fantastic. I think the thing is, whenever you do take that leap, and you step into being self-employed, if it is for you, if it's the right kind of thing for you, then you're like, okay, there's just no way I could go back to being employed by somebody. And sometimes, I've seen a few people over the years that if they've worked in corporate, in particular, people who've worked in corporate all their lives, like 25 years, and then they're like, yeah, I'm going to do my own thing. And I'm like, you're not going to last longer than 6 months, because they kind of get used to having the cushion of the organization and all those, different things there. And then realize that whenever they're self-employed, guess what? You're doing all that yourself for the most part, and either that suits you and you've got the temperament for it, or you're like going to run a mile. But I'm thinking that's around about the time I met you. I think that would have been near the start of the pandemic. Am I right? Or was it before then?
No, it was after it. It was well into my journey. I think maybe September last year or a little earlier.
Right.
I'm not sure. But for me, the self-employment was always something since I was 16 that I dreamt of it. Because I had a cousin who was self-employed and his brother as well. They were struggling all the time, but the freedom they had, the freedom to decide, okay, you're a bad guy, I'm not working with you. You are a good client, I love you, I'm working with you. All these little bits and bobs. And my uncle as well. I loved my uncle to bits, and he was self-employed as well.
Right.
So I grew up with that. Everyone in Germany, though, tells you, oh, you can't do that. That's too dangerous, because we Germans are very, very fixated on being safe and secure. And actually in Germany, you are more safe and secure than you are here with your jobs. And with payments as well, and all these things in the background. However, for me, it's a false safety, because you can be fired at any point in your career. Life is so unpredictable. Everything changes within milliseconds. And why would I not try to hunt down my dreams and pin them down and live them? It's just, you need this point of this certain point in your life where you are, and it's this kind of point of no return. It's either that and you go down, or it's either jumping and go for your freedom and accept what comes. So I knew
Yeah, I
of what
think
I was buying in, kind of.
I think there's an awful lot of people who have taken that leap, especially with the pandemic happening. It's like, this is the time that I need to do this. And for me, I was I've been self-employed. This is my 28th year being self-employed, but I just kind of shifted focus from what I was doing. I was already doing the marketing stuff in the real world, but it just became, I'm focusing on doing that online and do more of that kind of side of things. But I just think it just accelerated everything for everyone, and in every aspect of every industry, everything's been accelerated. It was digital's taking over, going online, and if you're not online with this, if you haven't been up until now, and if you've been avoiding it, then now's the time. You're going to have to do it, or you're just going out of business.
Yeah, I had. Well, my company is a pandemic baby. However, I planned on being self-employed already in December, January, before everything started. And I had put slowly everything into place. It was just really, as you say, accelerated due to the several circumstances coming together and forcing me to make a decision. And normally, if the pandemic would not have hit, I'm not even sure if I would have my business. The plan was to launch it in January this year. But, when you feel this kind of safe and you feel there's, I can cope, I can not even manage anymore, but cope. It is different to be thrown in the cold water, to be at this point where you have to make a decision. I'm not even sure if that would have come in a way that it has come. So for me, although I really know how badly the pandemic hit everyone, and my best friend, she had COVID, and and I'm here, she there, I couldn't do anything for her, and it was a horrible time. But for me personally, the pandemic was the best thing that could happen. And also because I'm an introvert, so I was happily at home. No pressure from society that I have to go out and have to leave the house.
But like my younger brother is very much the same. He loves working from home. He would normally be in the office, and the fact that they've been working from home, he's like, hey, love it, And I've really enjoyed the fact that my life hasn't been as crazy. Just running around, going from one place to the next, and I'm seeing a few things posted on LinkedIn talking about some face-to-face networking stuff is coming back, and I'm kind of like, I'm not like, yay. I'm like, I have to go. So I'm kind of, as long as the online stuff remains, which I think it will, but I'm probably happier doing a lot more of that than I am necessarily going to a lot of the events.
But it's
it takes
also
up less of your time, rather.
Yeah, and for me, as being an introvert, meeting a bunch of people which I don't know, who I don't, it doesn't matter. It freaks me out, and I'm usually the one who hides in a corner and is like, don't talk to me, don't look at me, ignore me, please. So being online is a complete different world for me, and a complete different enabler for me to do networking. And it's also safer, and for me, I'm a little bit weird at the moment because I have asthma, and I know what's at risk if I would get COVID. And so I have built up my own anxiety, unfortunately, with the whole thing as well. But when I think, I'm in Straven, so when I go into Glasgow to a meeting, it takes me 45 minutes to even get there, find a parking space, have to pay for the parking space,
exactly,
go to the meeting, and all the thing, in reverse. So I spent about 3, 4, 5 hours for one meeting, whilst in the same time I can have 3 FSB meetings in a row.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing for me. I'm kind of like, sorry, hold on, I can just make coffee, which I like, my own coffee, myself, and then it's not costing me anything more than I would normally be spending. I'm not paying for parking, you know, all of that. That's what I find, you know, good about the current situation. But anyway, we're not going to bitch about COVID. We're not going to talk about that. What I would really like to talk about is, what is your happy place creatively? You know, if you could think of the ideal client situation, you're like, that's what I would love to be in, that situation, working with this client and being able to work on this kind of job. What would that be?
Oh my God. I already have that. And
oh, fantastic.
privately, I'm very much inclined into tiny home on wheels. You know, those trailers which are nearly as big as a truck trailer, but are built as houses. I want to have my own because they are sustainable and all these things. So my heart is completely in there. And quite a lot of time in my week when I'm not working goes into that, into designing my own home, into research, into all that stuff. So as being a creator and graphic designer, I was lucky and got a client who deals with tiny homes. And
wow.
We are working on the branding. So being able to do a branding with my favorite topic of them all is like the perfect marriage of having my creative thing, because I drew some stuff by hand, and you know how it is. You do the sketching and you put it into your computer, you digitalize it, and the whole thing, it felt like not hard work. Just, you know, it was like a hobby. It was like, yeah, this is what I love to do. I love to create. I love to paint. I love to draw. I love to create stuff on the computer. I love graphics very, very much, and always try to rebuild something that I've seen that I want to have as a screensaver or whatever. But this was the perfect marriage, or is the perfect marriage, from my tiny homes and my passion for designing.
Wow. I mean, that is, I don't want to use the word lucky, but, you know, but whenever that
it's
happens, but you have that, you know, your dream meets your, you know, opportunity, then, you know, fantastic. So presumably, you know, you're able to chat with them about, what I'd really like to build is this. And, you know, and then they're able to kind of fill out some of the blanks, you know, maybe that you have in terms of what you'd actually like to build for yourself.
Yeah, very much so. And we've shared some YouTube videos, because there are some people out there who have the most amazing video style and videos they produce about tiny home living and van life as well. Because I'm obviously very crazy, and for me it's not enough to have this house which is pulled by something which is usually a pickup truck or something like that in that size. No, I'm going to build the van and have it adjusted into van life as well. So there's the bed in there, the kitchen, toilet, whatever you need, so that when I have my tiny home standing somewhere and I want to get away, I can take just my van and take off and have my home with me, and don't ever need to book into a B&B or a hotel, or, you know, so that is pure freedom.
Ultimately is that the goal, that, you know, you won't actually have a home, you'll just have your tiny home, and you're gonna have that kind of lifestyle where, you know, you're just kind of going from place to place. Is that the idea?
Yes and no. The UK makes it extremely difficult to have a tiny home, except for Wales. Wales has very nice legal regulations where it is allowed to have a tiny home. The rest of the UK makes it very difficult. So there are restrictions, and if I stay here which I pretty much want to actually, I would maybe see that I get a cottage somewhere with much land or whatever. You know, it will come when it comes. It will be the perfect thing for me. And when I have this land, I can put my tiny home on there for the moment. And then I can decide, okay, I want to go down and be in Holland, Netherlands for a while. And I take my tiny home and go away. And as you're allowed to stay away half a year before you lose your rights here, I would make sure that at least that I come back at least after half a year to be here. But it's this freedom, these endless possibilities, which I love so much. And I have always my cats with me because I'm very, very fond of them. They are like my children.
How many cats do you have?
2.
2.
And so I don't have to worry ever for them when I'm away because they are always with me. They are in the house. So
yeah,
I know it sounds crazy, but I
not
had
at all.
so.
I think it's always about freedom. You know, I mean, literally,
Yeah.
I was just talking to somebody else this morning, and they were talking about, you know, they've got a camper van, and their whole idea is to be able to get away with, you know, their family, the camper van on a weekend if they want, and just being able to just pick things up and just go.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. What is it that's kind of planted this seed? Was there something that, you know, from years ago they kind of like, yeah, that kind of precipitated this kind of notion that you just want to have that kind of freedom?
I always wanted to have my own house because I really despise renting. But in Germany, renting is normal. You do that all the time. Here, it's not as normal. Here, you rather buy. So, but coming over to here and being a foreigner and having barely any rights and, you know, like credits, and you don't have a credit score and all these things, renting is the option. But I want my house. I want to be free to choose if I want to have a nail in that wall or even a screw in that wall to hang up a heavy picture, painting or whatever. And the freedom which you have with a house itself is very, very valuable to me because I grew up in a house that belonged to my parents. And I know you have the obligations with all the bills. You have to pay this and that, and you have to pay the taxes and the tiny home because it's not a stationary home. It is off grid because you have the solar panels and you can do everything, really everything off grid. You are not bound by anything. You don't have to pay for your water. You don't have to pay for your electricity. You can do whatever you want with a tiny home as long as you're staying in those measurements which we have in the UK or another country. And it's yours. For me, it's the utter freedom. And I can decide how sustainable it will be. And I'm extremely into sustainability. So it's the perfect solution for now. Maybe there's a better one, of which I don't know yet, or which I have not discovered yet. But this is the perfect solution for now.
It's funny, talking to you and talking to one of my other guests, Ashley Leeds. He was sort of saying different approaches and different, occupations really, but there's a similar thread in that it's having the freedom to do what you want. And it's a lifestyle business really, in terms of, like, I get that you love doing what it is that you're doing work-wise, but what I get the sense from you is that more than anything, you want to have the freedom to do what you want to do. You know, rather than just be, I'm living to work. You know what I mean?
That's my ultimate goal because I do marketing still, but I've done it for over 28 years now. And I do want to drop marketing because there are so many people who do it, like yourself, and your marketing is each time. When I see stuff, it's like, oh, that's awesome. That's a great idea.
Thank you very
and
much.
I know that others are more into it than I am. I can do it, but I'm not in there with my whole heart anymore. It is something I can do because I did it for such a long time, and it's comfortable to do it. But my ultimate goal is really just designing and creating things. Creating stuff that makes...
Creator of worlds.
Yes! Being the creator, the vision builder of worlds. And, oh my God, I love that. I really love that. And as I am remote, it enables me to actually have this life, this pure freedom of life that I want to achieve. It is, again, the perfect combination of everything.
So, Heike, a couple of years from now, where would you see yourself? Where would you like to be then?
At a certain income level, definitely. I would like to be able to look back on today and really see how far I have come, how much I have achieved. I would love to open my bank account and do this little dance, you know. Oh, that's all mine, that's all mine. And have the house and have amazing clients and be even able to outsource to people who are on my wavelength, to people from who I know that they deliver the high standard I deliver. And yeah, that's actually the picture I have in my head is me in my tiny home, and my tiny home is somewhere in the mountains where you can overlook the complete mountain range. You know, as if you're up in the Cairngorms and you stand up on the top and you can see the whole mountain range, and you can see on good days even Ben Nevis and the sea and well, you at least know where it is and all these things. So something like that. And I think it's not that big, and it's definitely achievable, and I will achieve it somehow, some way.
Absolutely. I am convinced that you will. Heike, thanks so much for joining me today, and it's a pleasure as always to chat to you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for having me. It was fun, and cheerio.
See you soon. Bye.